Welcome to Behind the Lavalava Business Spotlight, where we highlight businesses that are making a difference in our community. I'm your host, Michael Tan, and I'm joined today by my co-host, Johnny Suarevai. In this segment, we place the person behind the business, giving them a platform to share their unique experiences and connect with a wider audience. So our goal is to promote these businesses and give them the visibility they deserve. Our show is brought to you by Matai Watches, a luxury timepiece brand that embodies the essence of the Pacific Islands. So whether you're looking for a watch to wear to work or complement your island style, Matai Watches has got you covered. This is Behind the Lavalava Business Spotlight. I'm Michael Tan, and let's get started. So today we have a very special guest. His name is Ray Keller. He's the owner of Independent Island Life Insurance. So Ray, could you tell us a little bit about your background, where you're from, and your parents?
Yeah. Thanks for having me on the show, Mike. Johnny, good to be here. So my name is Raymond Andrew Keller III. I'm one of three boys. I'm the oldest son. My mom is Tongan. She's Salome Veikite. And then you have my dad, who's Raymond Keller II from Scotland. So I got a pretty cool mix. I always like to actually joke with people about the Lavalava thing, because both sides of my culture is in some kind of a skirt, So so I'm married. I've got 5 kids, live out in Texas. I know a lot of you guys are former military. So my dad was in the Army. So I also grew up in Germany and Panama. That's where my 2 younger brothers were actually born. And I was born in Utah and raised mostly in California, in Modesto. And only recently, when I say recently, in 2001, I moved to Utah after my mission. And that's where I became more acquainted with my Polynesian side, because I had no connection with Polynesians at all growing up in Modesto, California. Everyone thought I was Black or Puerto Rican. So, a lot of explaining. Yeah, so I moved to Utah 2001 as a young adult and kind of danced at BYU Luau and joined a bunch of dancing teams, Polynesian dancing teams, and sang in the Divine Heritage Choir back in the day. That was a popular choir in the early 2000s. Had my first son out there, Ivan. So Ivan, shout out to you. You haven't talked to your dad in a long time, so if you watch this, get back in touch. Miss you, son. And then then we have our 4 other kids. And then we just moved out to Austin. So just fast forward to today. Just as far as on a personal level, I guess we'll get into the business side of things, but moved out to Austin, Texas last June just to get away to some warmer weather. And we love it.
Yeah. So. Yeah. Thank you for sharing. It's pretty great to meet you. Could you tell us about your business and what services you offer?
Yeah. So I started a life insurance agency pre-COVID about 6.5 years ago. And I started it because I was living out in rural Utah, a place called Spring City. This is down there by Ephraim, by Snow College. So I was out there, and I had originally moved out there from Provo because I had earned this privilege from my previous job to be able to work remotely before anyone was doing this remote work stuff, because I was their top sales guy. So I sold my house in Provo, moved out to Spring City. It's about an hour and a half south by Manti. And the company had basically changed the rules of the game and said that they wanted me to come into the office about a year after this move. And so I was already an hour and a half out. I wasn't going to do that drive. So basically I quit on the spot, or they fired me because I wouldn't come in. So I was looking for a gig. That was it. Looking for something to make some good money. I was selling software, making a decent amount of money for the family. And now I had nothing. So I looked up help wanted ads on the different listings and found and saw that life insurance people were making 6 figures. Is pretty common, 100,000, something like that. So anyway, so it piqued my interest, and I came from a phone sales background. And so I just married the two in my head. I was like, life insurance, they can sell, but all these guys are doing it face to face. They're banging doors, driving all over the place. But I'm a phone sales guy. That's my strength. So I just married the two ideas. I said, I'm gonna sell life insurance over the phone. And so I just started. I sold myself my first policy because there was a lot of things. There's a lot more to the story, but I learned a lot of things about the life insurance space, mainly that most agents are captive agents. So that means they're captive. They're a slave to their captive agency. They're only allowed to sell what the captive agency tells them they can sell, which is always very expensive options. So I learned this as I was becoming familiar with life insurance. So I just saw a huge hole, a huge weakness, that a lot of people were not getting options. And so that was the big thing for me. I was like, I want to be able to fix this problem. I want to give people options. And so I learned about something about being called an independent broker. And then I just started from there. I became an independent broker, sold myself my first policy, sold family members their policies, and then just kind of went from there. Now we're here 6.5 years later.
Yeah, thank you. So I like to go straight for the neck and kind of debunk this before our conversation continues. So I have insurance through my workplace, working for the government. Right. But through my experience, I've come across people who are very skeptical about life insurance, thinking it's similar to a MLM or one of those multi-level things where you have to recruit people and they recruit others. And
say it, pyramid scheme. Just say it.
Yeah, pretty much a pyramid scheme. So how do you address those who are kind of doubting what you do on that level while you're trying to sell these insurance? Because I know you're not doing it try to gain a lot of money for yourself, right? You're also helping people. Yes, it's a job, but you're also helping people get the services that they need.
So dealing with those people. So number one, I'm very different what I built here. So what I built here is a referral machine. So the people I'm dealing with aren't like your typical life insurance agent. Typical life insurance agent is buying a lead. Someone, the banks or your credit union will mail you this card and say, oh, you're an account holder. Here's your special offer for life insurance, and, special in quotes. So those agents are dealing with a lot more skepticism than I typically do. Number one. So people that call me are all referrals, almost 100% of the time. And then I think the big thing I do probably to deal with that is just this model that I built, this virtual agency that I built is designed to not be high pressure by default. Because what the old school agent was trained to do was they call it the kitchen table battle. You want to get in the house, sit at the kitchen table, go face to face with them in their house, and you want to convince them to buy. But my model is very different. It's not like that. It's a series of phone calls. So I think that really helps people. It helps put them at ease when they know, like they say, no, Ray, I'm just not ready. That's fine. Let's talk again. I'll follow up with you every 30 days. Right. It's not as high pressure because when you're using gas and you're spending all this time driving to everyone's house, that pressure is going up on that sales guy to close the deal. He's like feeling it. He's got to get this deal done. So he's pressing. But this is what I do is not like that. It's as simple as hanging up the call if they don't want to talk to me anymore. So I just don't even go there with them. It's just, let's just talk about it. I spend a lot of time on education with people, a lot, probably more than any other agent out there. I do a lot of time educating people. And so when you have that information, that power, you're not dealing with those kind of concerns like, is this real or not? Because the light bulb goes off and they understand what I'm talking about.
So how do you, I know a lot of us, we measure progress. How do you measure success, and what are some of the biggest challenges you faced as an agent so far?
Yeah, I just measure success. I think probably a big metric I use is just reviews, like if people will leave a review, that shows me that I did something right. They're willing to put their name to my name and put it together and put it online for the whole world to see. But my measure of success has never been about money. I've almost went broke the first 4 years. Literally, my wife, I mean, probably shouldn't say this, but it's that kind of broke. Like your wife, your marriage is like, it's tight, right? I mean, gratefully, we're still together, and things have now kind of come out of that, but it's never been about money. It's always been about just filling that hole, fixing that problem. And then I knew the money would come eventually. I knew at the end game, if I just took care of people, they would rave about me. And then I would have no, that I would have success. But is that what you were asking, Johnny?
Well, like, I mean, with the dynamic of your business, right?
Yeah.
Where it's, do you measure through volumes of calls? Do you measure the extended amount of time that people stay with your insurance policies that you offer, or with the product, or the amount of product you sell? It's, people measure success in ways. Maybe, hey, I haven't sold a lot, but I have a client that's been faithful with me the entire time since I started, and I got like 12 of them. And it's always curious, what the metric is, and then or some of the major challenges that you faced yourself, from startup to middle ground to, obviously you said there was some marital problems involved with constant financial struggle in the early days, as with every business. Not everyone can get it right out the door. Yeah. And so it's always one of those, like, I'm curious is, I know we talked about as a podcast that everyone measures success differently. And I just was wondering what your metric was.
Yeah.
How do you measure it?
Yeah, it's definitely going to be, retention, no doubt. Mm-hmm. That's keeping your book. They call your book of business, making sure they're sticking with you. So that's definitely a big metric. And then volume, dollars and cents, for sure is there. But then obstacles too, you kind of talked about. I mean, I mentioned just starting something from scratch, like you already acknowledged, is difficult already. But and then marital, whenever money's tight and you have a large family, that always brings a lot of stress. But yeah, I mean, it's just overcoming, like what Mike talked about, that the doubt that people sometimes have, that's always there initially. That's an obstacle I think that one is overcome by just being consistent, by just constantly being there in front of them, constantly sending out a message to them, following up with them. That obstacle has been overcome that way. But I'd say, I mean, just to start, just getting anything started from nothing. I mean, this came out of my head, like, I'm going to do this, and now 6.5 years later to still be doing it and having success. That's the biggest obstacle, is just sticking through it, not quitting, even though many have quit before you at a similar point. They just threw in the towel. But self-doubt, I mean, that's a big rabbit hole.
Yeah. And now I'm gonna ask the big why. Why do we need life insurance, and what services do you offer, like packages and all that?
Okay, so I'll answer the second one first. I'm independent, so my toolbar, you guys can't see it there, but it's ridiculous. I've got every carrier on the planet that I'm contracted with. So options, like I said in the beginning, that was the big problem I've seen. People just overspending because their agent only gave them a small handful of options. So I have access to everything, in short. And then what was the first part of your question, Mike?
The big why. Why do people need life insurance?
Okay. So the big question that people need to ask themselves is, not everyone does need life insurance. Life insurance is for those, and the way I put it simply for them is just to ask yourself, if I were to pass away tonight, would my family struggle to just pay the exact same bills that were there last month? That's the very first question. And if the answer is yes, they're going to struggle, then the answer is yes, you need life insurance. But someone else recently highlighted for me, or reminded me, that out of all the insurances that everyone already buys or is considering buying, the only insurance that will 100% go to a claim is life insurance. Your car insurance, you may never wreck with anyone. Your home insurance, you may never have a hailstorm or a tornado or a flood. All these other insurances, medical insurance, you may never get sick. You may just, but the only one that's 100% goes to a claim, as long as you keep up with the payments, is life insurance. And so if people realize that a little bit more, I think they'd prioritize it a little bit more than they do.
Yeah, death is guaranteed. So that's unfortunate, truth about our lives that we live today. That, one of these days we want to say goodbye to our family. Hey, interestingly, I am a life insurance agent. I'm a life insurance agent here in Texas. However, though,
oh, that's cool. Me too. I'm in Texas.
Oh, you're in Texas. Nice.
Yeah,
Awesome.
Austin.
I'm with PHP right now.
People helping people. Nice.
Is between the three, if you could catch up on, or, talk more on it. You see it on TikTok, some of the dilemmas on IUL. Why should or shouldn't we, get an IUL, index universal life.
Right.
You have whole life insurance, you have term, and then IUL is in the picture. Mm-hmm. You can touch on it for the listeners. I know a lot of the people, they watch TikTok. All these famous folks are saying, hey, get IUL, because unfortunately it's like owning your own bank in a way. So maybe share some of the, the myths and, whatnot to deal with IUL on that subject.
Nice. Yeah. Let's talk about that a little bit. So yeah, it's definitely hot right now on social media, Index Universal Life, and they're piggybacking on this concept of what they call your family bank, or what's the other word? Oh man, I forgot the name of it. The guy that started it, infinite banking, right? So infinite. Yeah. So the number one thing that people need to learn about with Index Universal Life is I do not recommend it. And this is why, because Index Universal Life, if you go back historically and look at the actual illustrations, not just the illustrations that they build forecasting the future, they underperform drastically. And there's a lot of reasons. There's interest rate environment with the Federal Reserve. Right now, they've been hiking, going up the interest rates, but inflation, there's a lot of big reasons for this. But as far as life insurance products are concerned, I definitely lean more towards the whole life side for that concept, that infinite banking concept, or your family banking. But again, just go back, the Index Universal Life, the big issue is just that they underperform their illustrations 100% of the time. And so that's a problem, because people, and there's you can do a little research on this yourselves, but you'll see that the complaints are astronomical. And because people are expecting it to perform as the original illustration was given, and when it underperforms, they're very upset. And so that's just creating an ugly problem for an agent in the future. Besides that, just credibility and all that stuff, is your reputation is at risk. But with whole life can also do the same thing. There's a lot of misunderstanding about that concept of your family banking. Let me see if I can. How do I summarize this? With your family banking, do you want me to go into the concept a little bit? Is that what you're asking, or you just kind of want my general opinion about?
General opinion, and your take on it, which you pretty much touched on.
Yeah, so I do think that your family banking, that concept, or infinite banking, is a good concept with the whole life product, the right whole life product, and the right agent, because it has to be built properly. The big thing that a lot of agents will do is you can build the whole life policy to maximize the cash value, and most agents do not do that. And that's the only reason why someone would want to do an infinite banking, is to, when they put $1 in, they want to get almost the whole dollar, if they can, that they can borrow against to do different things, like invest in a business or pay down debt. There's a lot of things you can do with that money. So most agents are building a 65-35. This is a popular split. They're doing a 65% goes into the policy, 65% goes into the cash value, and then 35% goes into the insurance cost. And so that makes, and that's what they get paid on. So they want a higher commission. So if 35% is going towards the insurance, then the agent's able to get quite a bit more. But it doesn't truly serve their client, because their client wants you to build it to the most cash value possible to maximize that. And if you do it that way, the split would be a 90-10. It'd be 10% towards insurance and 90% into cash value. So every dollar you put in, you're going to get 90 cents back right away within 3 weeks to be able to borrow against, to do what you wanted to do with it was to become your own bank. So you don't have to go apply for loans and things like that. You can just draw it from your own life insurance. So anyway, that was my short answer on that.
So Ray, do you have any success stories? I wouldn't say success stories if your clients passed away, but from their families, testimonials.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any that you could share with us?
Yeah. I've got dozens of them on my website, and I think I'm around 50 or 60 on Facebook, different reviews. And I mean, like you said, Mike, it's not like I feel successful when someone passes away, but when the family reaches out to me or I deliver that check to the family, it's a very emotional thing. Even for an agent, I don't really always know the family members. But when I deliver that check and see the gratitude that they have for that, and and their family is not going to be financially hurting, it's just a very big, warm feeling, So, I mean, there's plenty of those. I've had 6.5 years. I think I've done maybe a dozen death claims. So that's the successful side. And the unsuccessful side are those that, that their family member will call me. They saw that I was talking on Facebook Messenger with mom or dad or husband or wife, and those are more the sad stories because I don't have anything. I can't, you could bring a horse to water, you can't make him drink type scenario. It's like I have to just be straight with them that we worked on it. I tried, read the messages. I follow up every month with everybody, not just your wife or your husband, but so that's the dark side of that. But yeah, the testimonies would probably just be best if people just read them, the words of the, on the reviews or something. But yeah, there's plenty of families who feel very blessed or fortunate to get that death benefit and to have paid so little for it. Again, that's what I do, is I make sure they get the most death benefit possible for the least amount of money and without sacrificing quality, right? Because I have access to everything. So they get the highest quality, least expensive option. It's not one or the other.
So I know you said that you're 100% referral. Do you get access to demographics whatsoever? Or is it through those referrals, or do you just, all you see is a name and you call?
It's just so the referrals usually come. The way I have people send me the referrals is just a text message. Mm-hmm. They'll say, it's a three-way, a group text. Hey, mom, this is my friend Ray, my agent friend Ray. He took care of all of our policies in the house. I trust him. He's going to take care of you going forward. So it's a real simple introduction. But yeah, I mean, I have all the demographics, right? Life insurance is all about demographics. It's all about statistics and or mortality rates and, body mass index. I mean, all those are part of demographics. So, I mean, I have all those just to be able to write a policy and quote a policy. But
so you cater to the Polynesian community as a whole quite often?
98.9% probably. I don't actually know the number, but I've got, I have my wife's in-laws that are Palangi, or my in-laws, my wife's parents, her siblings, and like a small handful over 6.5 years. But the majority of people I get, Tongan, Samoan, Fijian, nice. And yeah, it's been fun because they're the ones who are, a lot of ways are underserved. A lot of them get turned away because of weight issues, and so a lot of them come to me. Or they don't come to me. I find them and just let them know I can help you. And then they share their story. Oh, I got declined 3 times. You're not going to be able to do it. And I just tell them, just give me 1% of your trust. Let me run it. And let me show you what I could do. I've never turned away anyone one person in 6.5 years recently. Polynesians for sure are the ones I'm helping the most, but I'm not trying to just keep it just for them. I'm just, that's just
the way it ran. It went that way. I got you.
Yeah.
I got you.
And Ray, what kind of support do you need from the community to help your business thrive?
I mean, I think it just comes probably back just to referrals. Referrals is probably the number one thing. But before they refer me, how can they refer me if they've never used me? So they gotta do it first. And then there'll be a real referral. They can actually put that group text together with some confidence, knowing that they're introducing them to someone who will take care of them firsthand.
Yeah, and I asked it because we're here to highlight businesses. So
Yeah.
sometimes I had to ask that hard question, and for businesses to come straight out and say, "Hey, enroll in the life insurance to help me and my business." And sometimes that's all we need to say.
True. Yeah, just an invitation. It's very true. Yep.
Well, you got any big plans for the future? Do you plan on expanding, maybe getting pushing out to? Well, I obviously since you're online, so you can cater to basically the entirety of the continental U.S. and
Yeah.
the Pacific region, such and such. Probably the whole world, right?
Well, not the whole world. I'm trying to figure that one out, but that one might be too big of a pie, man. That's a big place. I'm from Hawaii to Alaska, and then everything in between. But American Samoa too. I do some, but I'm trying to figure out how to. Since I'm helping so many Polynesians, I've been trying to make connections with some Pacific Islander agencies out in the islands. Try to figure out. Worst case, if it's just more referral network, that's fine with me too. I can't help them, but they have a family member out there that wants some, then I can help make that connection. But I want to grow it. I have a small team. I've already put a few guys under me and gals. So, but that's not really my focus right now. I want to get this thing so fine tuned that I can then, I want to be able to, if I bring someone in, I want to be able to step into something as polished as possible, minus the mistakes that I've made over the last 6.5 years.
All right. Thank you very much, Ray. Thank you for tuning into this episode of Behind the Lavalava Business Spotlight. I hope you enjoyed our conversation. Remember, the businesses we feature in our show are always looking for your support. So be sure to check out their websites and social media pages to learn more and see how you can get involved. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to follow Behind the Lavalava and leave us a review. And thank you for joining us. We hope you found this interview informative and insightful. This is Michael Tan, Johnny, and Ati signing off from Behind the Lavalava. Tofa soifua.